hit play and see what it's going to look like here for me. See if I
I'm
can
not
watch
sure if we're live or not yet, as far as audio, but I'll figure all this stuff out eventually.
it. See, you stream in six. Hold on, what was it? 616. I've never even heard of that.
That's because I have a weird ratio monitor that's very wide.
Yeah,
It's it's
yeah,
it,
we
it's
can't
a
hear us talking.
it's a little goofy, but uh, I got it for free, so I'm not complaining. And it's cool for stuff like anything cinematic.
Yeah. We can hear each other talking on your live stream.
Hmm.
We can hear each other. I can hear you talking on the live stream, and me too.
Oh well, that's good. Awesome. Eventually, I'll figure out how to get this, how to get that screen up, but it doesn't. But we're not like actually talking on the stream. Let's
Oh,
see.
I got you. Okay. So I'm hearing us through my headphones through you.
Yes, I think so.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, I had just played around with the whole scenes thing today, so this is my first time trying it out. It works, sort
Oh,
of.
cool.
I'll figure out the rest later. Alright, got something in the shout box, and then I'll get my phone up and running, and then we're good. We can officially start.
Cool.
Even though technically
Sounds
we've
good.
already started.
I think I'll be able to watch it. I think we'll be good.
Awesome. That works.
I hope.
Well, then you can help out with the hole I was gonna design today. All right, I've got it
I'll
up.
try.
All right. I've got my here. I'm gonna make sure my chat comes up. Yep, perfect. We are
Yep,
good. All
got
right.
it.
Well, I'll just go live then. Let's see.
Told you we weren't muted. Curtis can hear us.
Oh, I mean, I knew we weren't muted. I hadn't
Oh,
figured out how to mute the mics for, I guess, other than just clicking off the whatever. It's fine.
oh, I got you.
All right, I can switch scenes now. Bam. All right, we're officially live. Welcome
There
to
we go.
episode 3 of The Joy of Planting, featuring very special guest Terry Grayson. Hey Terry, thanks for joining me this evening.
Appreciate you having me, buddy. Thank you.
No problem.
Looking forward to it.
Yes. So the project I was going to work on today was this little par 3 on the ocean. I mean, it's the backdrop is great, so it's a perfect spot for a hole. Or
Okay.
if the stream doesn't work, then you know then we'll just do like an interview thing, and I'll work on the hole in the background. So if anybody in the chat had any questions for Terry or anything like that, or wanted to ask him about various stuff, then by all means put questions in the chat, and I'll pass them forward.
Shoot, yeah, fire away.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll try my best to watch the stream and talk at the same time, but with this lovely internet I have, it could be a crapshoot.
Oh, I know. Hence why I'm like, okay, well we'll work out some alternative plans.
There we go. I don't know if I've seen this course you're working on here yet.
I've only worked on it on on the show so far. It's basically just a project I'm using for, um, as a tutorial thing for this show.
Gotcha. Cool.
So I did my first episode was just on kind of like, you know, throwing quick ideas down, doing, hour long little like whole concept type stuff. So I designed the
Hmm.
first hole then, and then Matt was my guest last week, and we routed the rest of the 18 holes, which
Oh,
I'm now
cool.
realizing I forgot to rearrange. They're a little out of order, but. And then I figured I would have you on to kind of walk everybody through how you like to frame holes and plant that sort of stuff. Since
Okay.
you know you're kind of a master of both of those things, if I do say so myself.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't know about all that, but
But I'm sure it's that kind of artistic background certainly helps. If the folks in the chat don't already know, Terry is I think an amateur but very talented photographer. Hence I think you bring a lot of that artistic flair to your designs and stuff.
I appreciate it. I actually started. I've always drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Even as a child, I was always drawing. The older I got, I started drawing, and I shared some of this with you guys the other night. I started drawing portraits and things like that from photographs, shading, stuff like that. Got decent at it, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if it's when I had children or what, but I don't draw anything anymore. So I guess my creative outlet now is taking photos. I bought my wife a nice camera for Christmas 2 years ago. I think she got out of the box one time, so I got it out and started fooling with all the settings and learning and taking a bunch of photos. I guess that's my new creative outlet. Well, that and I'm pretty good at planning golf courses. I'm not great, and I freely admit, as far as designing a hole, I'm not good at it. I hide most of my problems on course design with decent planting. I'll be the first to admit that.
You're definitely not alone in that. So it's you're in good company there. Plus, however you pronounce it, Valley Crucius, you did most of the holes for that, correct?
Yeah, I did. I designed.
Cause
Yes, I did everything on that course, and Eric sculpted the greens.
yeah, cause that course was awesome. So I think you're selling yourself way short there.
That's actually a real life location, just oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, just southwest of Boone, North. Little town called Valley Crucis, where it has a little called Mass General. Been there since I don't know 18 something. Sits kind of in a little valley surrounded by mountains, and it's kind of the inspiration behind it.
Yeah,
I don't even know if it actually has a golf course there, but
it
that was my reasoning for it.
it does now.
That's right, it does now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
watch the stream on the phone because it's locking my computer up, so I can see it better on the phone. So let's go.
perfect.
There we go.
All right. So hole two, it's kind of a shortish. I think it's about 160-yard par three with a spectacular backdrop. So you can't go too wrong here. However, I had to bump up the land there where the green sits, and I'm sure you
Hmm.
can attest to this that framing your holes well is important, and especially on par threes, you want to be able to see the hole. So
Yes.
if your tee shot is blind and there isn't a particular reason for it, like I wouldn't say never have blind holes, but like most of the time there's no reason for a tee shot to be blind. You got to
That
show
was
off the
that's.
hole.
Go
Hmm?
ahead. I'm sorry. That was exactly what I was going to say. As far as there is a place for blind shots, but my opinion on a par three, you want to see what you're hitting at.
Exactly.
I want to see and I like I'll raise the tee a little bit. I like to see. I'm trying to see it on my phone. What you got going there? I like to see the bunkers in front. I like a par three, and I don't always do it, but what I find very interesting is when you have a bunker down front, that sits kind of, well, lower than the green, and then one maybe the opposite side behind the green up high. It just frames it, gives it a sense of depth. That's what, in my opinion, that's what you look for in a
Oh
design
yeah,
is depth.
exactly.
Just something as simple as when I mentioned planting. If I'm at a tee box and this little par three course we're working on to the left of hole 12, wasn't
Mhm.
a lot of room to do something, but I'll take small grass or small bushes that's closer to you. I make those smaller. I hope you don't hear my little girl screaming in the
I do a
background.
little bit, but it's not that loud. No worries.
But the further away you get, I make the plants or stuff bigger.
Hmm.
That's kind of opposite of what it should be, but it gives it more depth. Like you're looking further out, it's deeper.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I just think that looks good.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I definitely agree with you on your thoughts on kind of how you frame greens. Like as a rule of thumb, not always, but like if there's nothing already there that's interesting and you're just kind of working with a flat-ish or like a little bland piece of land, just bump up like your green and your green, your landing area if it's a par 4 or 5, and your tee box. Like you want
Yes,
those to be kind of local high points in my opinion.
yes, I agree with that 100%.
Plus raised greens I think play a little bit more interesting, and
Yep.
also it makes they look better, and it's really easy um to to throw some like fronting bunkers in there because you already have uh like a little pad for them,
Yes.
where I usually like the bunkers to face the player pretty much always. They'll be there's always exceptions to that rule, but they always look and play a little better if they that way it gives them a little bit of a back lip. Plus, you can see them and they frame everything nicely.
Yes.
So yeah,
Agreed. Trying to get my stream caught up with you.
no worries. I'm just I kind of doodled out my hole and did a little bit of just broad sculpting, and
Go back to the tee.
now I'm throwing my green surface down. So
Well, before
if
you do that, go back to the tee. Let me see the view from the tee
all
down to
right
that hole.
here, well, you caught me in the middle of laying my green surface down, so
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I just I finished up the spline. I'll go back to the tee now.
Okay. Hey, Tim.
Hey Tim, thanks for stopping by. Also Matt, Jason, uh, Curtis, just getting caught up on the chat. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Ooh, I have to go check. I haven't actually. Well, I can check afterwards and see if the little chat stuff in the corner worked.
To see what?
If the chat, I since I might eventually upload this stuff to YouTube, I figured it would make sense to have the chat stream in the corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you.
So hopefully I figured out how to do that. Oh, so have you caught up to the stream yet? Have you are you getting a look from
You're
the feed?
finishing your spline just now on my screen. You finished the spline.
Okay, so you're a ways behind.
I tell you, I have wonderful internet here.
No worries.
Now you're at the tee. Are you still sitting there on your screen?
Oh yeah, it'll be there for a while on your screen. Cause
See, to me, looking down at that green side,
mm-hmm.
the shape that you chose. I mean, you got the shape of the green, and then the way the fairway comes left. So if you had a far right pin position, that just gives so much depth to me. And if you play, I'm sure you're going to put a bunker there on the front right.
Oh yeah, and front left.
And that's just going to add even more depth to that tee shot right there. That's going to look. I can already tell that's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those where I was just raising up the area there to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it sat so low that you couldn't see anything, and it was a little close to the water level for my taste. I wanted this to be a little kind of Pebble Beach seventh, just a touch,
Gotcha.
and which means that
That
it would
looks
need to
really good.
sit, or it would just look more dramatic if it sat well above the water, in my opinion.
Yep.
My stream has some small freezes. Yeah, my Streamlabs says I'm dropping like 20% of frames. I think they're kind of in chunks. I'm not really sure how to fix that. I'll play around with settings and stuff at some point, but
Probably due to me and my internet.
no, that wouldn't be why my stream would drop frames. That would be my internet. Which is, it's okay, but it's not great. So I already bumped my stream down to like 30 FPS. I might have to drop the resolution down to minimize bandwidth. But again, we'll figure it out eventually. I know, so it'll get a little, um, you know, like kind of not laggy, but it'll skip some frames now and again. But it's not too terribly critical. Hopefully, I'll get it figured out eventually.
There you go.
I'm sure I'll figure this out eventually. It's hard designing a hole and carrying on a conversation at the same time.
You're doing great.
Thanks. Especially since we didn't have anything actually planned out in advance, so I don't have any canned questions for you. I have to think of everything on the spot. Like, I really should have done
That's
some
fine.
of that.
Shoot, I think people have been around those. I run my mouth any chance I get.
That's fine with me. Alright.
What are you going to do planning wise on this hole once you get it built?
I'm not sure yet. It really just depends, in my opinion, on what I think frames the hole nicely.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't made any
What
of
is
the
the
decisions yet.
tee for 3 left of this green or right?
To the left of the green, and it
Okay.
goes back up around the hill there. I'll
Gotcha.
play with that a bit later. But I just figured, chances are by the time I get this hole done, that's probably enough for the stream this evening. That's
Gotcha.
a good kind of bite-sized chunk for a stream.
There you go.
I guess my now that I'm thinking about it, because I'm assuming you think of it sort of the same way, in that you view like your your tee shot or your approach shot, anything that you're trying to frame, you kind of just treat it like you would any artistic composition, and a lot of the same rules I think apply.
Yes, exactly. See, I was looking when I asked you to go to the tee for 2 reasons. One, to see the shape of the fairway, and then that's why I asked where the tee was for the next hole. Here, if it were me, is the only thing I would plant would be something to the right side of this green, right side of the bunker, some bushes, maybe a tree or two. I wouldn't touch the left where the sun's coming across the water there. You don't want to cover that up. From the tee, I would I may put one tree and a bush around it or something to the left of the tee.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Give that
thing.
sense of depth.
Yeah. Plus,
It'd be a nice. Go ahead.
Plus, there's already just the, and this is gonna get a little heavy on kind of art theory for some of you guys, but all of the tee already sits on kind of a left to right slope, and so all of the kind of like if you're looking at the tee as a composition, all of the lines of said composition flow kind of from upper left to lower right, and
Gotcha.
putting plants on the left and kind of accentuating that kind of upward line that the hole tends to follow. I think it would look good there.
And I kind of, the reason I said what I said about the planting here is that one tree give a sense to the left of the tee, give the sense of depth, and
Mm-hmm.
it's leading your eyes to that light on the water.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because it's the backdrop and the sculpting and
Yep.
stuff. It's already pretty solid. You don't want to go too
Yep.
heavy on the planting here, and take
Exactly.
away from what you got. So it's your planting should always accentuate things. You don't want it to distract from things, in my opinion.
Yep. And sometimes I do go overboard with it, especially grasses.
Oh, we all do. And I mean, and there are folks who, like what is overboard for some is good for others, or and everybody has a different style, that sort of thing. Like, if I tried to do Arctic Fury planting on my courses, it would look busy, but he's very good at what he does, so it kind of works for
Are
his
you are
stuff.
you are you standing on the tee right now? Or am I
um
still behind?
you're still behind. I just sculpted the land for my bunkers, and I'm throwing
Okay.
the actual surface down.
Gotcha.
I suppose my question for you, though, is how much kind of conscious thought do you put into how you frame your holes, and how much of it is just kind of instinct?
Uh,
Hey, Kent, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by.
I would say, well, it just depends. Sometimes it's 50-50.
Yeah.
What I like to do is, and I know this is so weird sounding, but if I'm out, if I'm like when I was designing Valley Cruisers or any course I design, and where I live in I guess you call it the foothills of North Carolina mountains all around. When I go out, if I go, and I live 22 miles from work, so if I'm riding, I study. I know that's so weird, but I look at trees, the way the land flows, grasses. Very rarely, very rarely in nature do you see a tree with nothing around the base.
Yeah.
Never.
Hmm.
I don't think I ever have, unless it's a brand new planted tree and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I look at stuff like that, and then I try to incorporate that when I'm planning a course. I want it to be natural. The biggest thing for me is scale.
Hmm.
When I used to design in PGA 2000, there was a guy named Robert Wagers, best I've ever seen, and we designed a course together one time. I don't remember the name. Stone Forest was the name of it, and he had like a big mountain behind a green, rocky outcropping. He asked me to plant it. I put a couple humongous trees right in front of it, and he crawled all over me. He said that don't look real. I said, well, it frames the hole pretty good. He said it's 200% out of scale. So we talked about scale for weeks.
Hmm.
Just the way the trees come down a mountainside.
Yeah.
Trying to make that look like it does in nature. It's hard to explain, but if you get scale right, then the rest of it takes care of itself.
That
You know,
makes
if you got
perfect sense.
one of them little red rose bushes from the tropical theme and it's 12 feet high, that's not realistic.
Yeah. Jurassic Park planting.
Yeah. Now, if it's a rose bush instead of just a couple of roses, stuff like that, I try to get the scale right and then worry about the rest later. I like framing my whole thought process, and it may be wrong. It just works for me. Is I always try to make the tee area look good. I always try to make the approach shot around it look good in the green site. And then, huge thing for me, one of my pet peeves is off the course. I know
Hmm.
I waste a lot of time on that, but if you build a course, say you're building this course here, and you plan everything just right around the holes, and then leave everything completely blank for miles around, that just looks ridiculous to me. Add something.
Well,
Just my thoughts. I may be wrong.
I think you're pretty spot on. In a couple minutes, you're gonna really like this. I just finished the bunkers and I'm kind of playtesting. I still need to tweak the T and stuff because you can't the T where it's at cuts off some of the view, but
Yep.
this is looking promising so far.
You're on the one on the right side on my screen. Right?
Gotcha.
You're painting it in right as we speak.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll catch up eventually.
Yeah, no worries.
What's up, Kent? If you're still here, I'm sorry I just saw it.
No, yeah, it was only a couple minutes ago, so we should still be here. Yeah, and it's the I would definitely have to tweak the surroundings of this hole a bit, but so far I think this is a good start.
Oh man, you just went to the T here. That does look good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you still? Where are you at now?
I tweaked the T and I'm playtesting it again because I still can't get it. The T still cuts off too much of the bottom, so I might have to. I brought it in slightly so it's right on the cliff edge. Here, I might have to play with this T box so that I can get the T up closer to the front of it. Now what kind of T's was I using? Oh, I hadn't decided on T shape or T style yet. So I'll just do a quick square one.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking at the first play test. It is cutting off a lot of it.
Yeah, the second one gets a little better, but you still can't quite see all of it. Oops, I didn't want to do that. This is kind of sloppy. It's not in the right direction, but I can fix that later. My T box is crooked, but it's okay. Yep, I got it. Oh, that looks good. mm. I'm kind of debating if I want a tree or two behind the hole, because it's now that I'm looking at it, I really like the way the hole lays out, but the whole landscape looks very kind of flat and empty. Like there's a lot of empty space visually to play with here.
If it, you know what I would do?
Yeah.
Like you're still standing on the T here on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
I would not touch where the 2 is in the middle of the green for your waypoint. I wouldn't touch anything left of that all the way across the bunker.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do. Where the green, the right-hand side of the green, right over to the top of the bunker, right where the green ends, I would put a tree to the right of that out there.
I was thinking
that way, if you have
too.
If you have a right pin there, that tree will give a sense of depth and, oh crap, I had to give it that. The little bush to the right of the bunker, about 5 feet of right of that, I would put a little grove of trees or something right there to focus your eye toward that one single tree and toward that light in the water. So I would actually have a grove of trees right of the bunkers. Not so close that it's casting shadows or taken away from the hole itself, but
right now I think I wanted one or two trees behind the green, kind of on that ridge and just off to the right. Yeah, there we go. Actually, I might throw one to the back left as well, just to kind of balance that out. It looks a little lopsided, like it pulls your eye to the right a lot. Here, I'm gonna try throwing.
Don't hide the light in the water.
Oh,
that looks really cool.
Yeah. I want a small.
Matter of fact, if it were me, I would take them all. If you're planting trees left, I'd take it out the bunker. What you can see of the bunker. That way, if you have them there, you have them right of the bunker, the right, and then 1 or 2 on the back side of the edge of that right-hand side of the green. then I mean you've framed it perfect.
There. So I
It's
did.
leading your eyes right down to the green side.
I threw one to the left and deleted it because I thought it was too tall and it just didn't balance things visually. So I deleted that and I threw a shorter one in there. I think I like the way this looks right now. So it should have a tall and a short one to the right and a short one to the left.
Exactly what I was thinking. Hey Matt,
And
golfer dude.
I might throw like a fence behind the green just because that would look interesting as well. And it would make sense there.
Yep.
Let's see. Well, we're not even a half hour into this. Doing this hole is a lot easier than I thought it would be. I thought it would take me an hour or so to get this, hole to a point where, it's mostly done. But this one was pretty easy. It might just be like, what do you want to call it? Like tweaking and.
Yep.
I could do some more planting because you're here and it makes sense to get the master of planting to talk about planting.
I hear you. So I see the short and tall right, semi-tall left, and I'm looking at one right in the middle of the green.
Oops, I'm gonna go clear all of the. There's a lot of scrub grass. It's like right on all of my bunkers, so I'm gonna go clear all that out.
And then I want you to try something.
Oh yeah, that's right. I still have to do a grove of trees to the right.
Before you do that, I want you to try something.
Sure.
So I'm still looking at the tee. Try to let it catch up.
No worries.
Because you're getting ready to play test, I think, on my screen.
Gotcha.
Dude, try this. From the tee, look at those two trees to the right there.
Yes.
The one on the right. Get one of the bushes.
Oh, yeah.
And put it right around the base of that tree.
Mm-hmm.
But then do this. Follow the line, the top of the terrain line from right of the tree. Same bush, and get smaller and smaller increments going down that. Just a couple feet to follow the line of the terrain. Watch how realistic that makes it look.
All right.
As far as scale.
Yeah. I'll give that a go. Go pick a bush.
And then I'd do the same for the tree right beside it and have it going to the right, feeding down into that bush at the right-hand tree. I hope that's making sense what I'm saying.
I think so.
If you just put one bush there, okay, you got a bush there. But if you actually follow the terrain and it gets smaller and shorter as it goes away from the tree, that just looks more realistic.
So I threw.
And it'll really stand out. I think it may not, but it would really stand out. I think from the tee.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it even more sense of depth from the tee. To me, it would.
Oh yeah, I wanna get some kind of rugged planting areas, a little, both right and left of the green, because that hopefully break up that kind of sight line, or not sight line's the wrong word, but like, where the land meets the water. There's a very distinct line that runs all the way across the screen. And it's huge, so if I can throw some bushes in there so that they just poke up over the hill there, and you can see them.
And when you do that, follow it from, eye level. If you're using the terrain of the land against the water as per se horizon, when you place your bushes, follow the lay of the land. The high point, make it a little taller, and then smaller or shorter as you go down, and watch how much depth that adds to it. Because we're all guilty of and I do it, we'll just place a bush or a tree or something there. Oh, yeah, that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I see you're putting a bush.
Yeah, I at this point, I think I have like 15-ish bushes I've thrown around various spots.
Just got to number 2 here.
quite jumping
No,
out at me yet. Like it's decent, but I'm still trying to figure out
no, no,
what's
no,
gonna
no,
make
no,
this pop.
no.
Did I do it wrong?
Delete those.
uh, we're well
Delete those.
past that now.
No, I mean, put one and sink it into the ground, like you're on the tree on the left right here now.
Mm-hmm.
Sink it right around the base of the tree, and then the second bush, attach it to the first bush, but make it a little bit smaller, a little shorter.
Oh, I
The
see.
further left,
Like
the
you're
further left. Attach them together, but make them shorter. The further you get away from the tree, and
you're
watch how
saying make
much.
like a conical base of bushes at the base of the tree.
Put one decent sized one at the tree. Make a second bush, attach it to that, or move it just left of that one. Make it a little shorter. Make the third one, attach it to the second one, make it shorter. Keep like stepping down, a natural gradient, if you will, of the
Mm-hmm.
planting to follow the kind of the horizon line between the land and the water, and watch how much depth that adds.
Gotcha. Well, I think I gotcha. See, again, you're saying make like a, you know, make like a ramp of bushes, like
Kinda.
away
Yep.
from the tree.
Yep.
All right. Well, I
But,
didn't go.
but follow the lay of the land.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't go back and delete anything, but I retroactively added some bushes. I think I got you.
I see. If you go the far right one, that little small tree on the right, I see you got like there's a little whole grove of little bushes there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish my stream was caught up with you.
No worries. I'm debating if I want something directly behind the green. It's still very open. Like a small tree or a big bush. Of course, then that casts a shadow on the green. It's kind of eh. Don't know if I really want that.
What tree are you? Like on my screen, you're on the right hand, the left tree on the right hand side.
Yeah, that's the one that I attempted the kind of conical shrub base.
Let me find.
Again, I can always, like if you have an example or something, I can always kind of show off what you mean on the next episode.
I'm going to get you an example right now.
All right. In the meantime, I'm just going to kind of continue futzing around with it. Because, yeah, that's, I think, both a good and a bad thing. Is that I just kind of plant by, or I frame and plant stuff by feel.
Yeah.
So it's where, again.
See, on my screen, you're looking from the T right now, and that looks good. The only thing, the far right bush to the right hand tree, I would put another one, attach it to the right of it, make it a little bit smaller. One to that, a little bit smaller, and make it taper off into the ground, if you will.
Gotcha.
That just makes it look more natural than a kind of a hard edge bush there showing from the T. If that makes sense, what I'm trying.
I think so.
I'm so confusing.
No worries. I'm also trying to listen to you and do stuff at the same time, so that only makes it worse.
Let's see, I'm trying to find it on 12, on that par 3 course.
Gotcha.
If I can find 12. Oh, perfect angle. All right, let's see. I'm gonna shut the stream off on my phone, take a picture, and send it to you on our little channel right quick. Show you what I'm talking about.
All right.
Or are you watching on your phone also?
I am, but I can pull different stuff up. It's not a big issue.
Should be in coming here in a second.
Now I'm debating if I could. Did I do all? No, I sprinkled some other kind of trees in here, so I don't have to lock myself into just pine trees on this one. Something like this.
I heard it buzz. You must have got it.
Yep. I'll go take a look. I wish I could think of an easy way to. Okay, yeah. So it's gotcha.
You see that pine tree to the right of the boat there. See how it's thicker right around it, and then it just tapers off and gets. They're all attached, but it gets shorter and shorter. And then the one to the tree to the right, how I blended it from tall to short into the planting on the left. If that makes sense, it just makes it look natural instead of one big bush sitting there or a bunch of rows of 8-foot bushes or whatever. Taper to follow the land.
I'm trying to think if there's an easy way I can share it with the chat and the stream, and I can't think anything. So
yeah, hold on. I can post that on my Facebook page and put a link to there, I think.
Well, that works too.
Post.
Yeah, this is looking promising. And it's also the, I think what I was saying earlier of, I usually just kind of, I do, I should throw some big rocks in here. What am I thinking? That'll break things up nicely.
There you go. Can never have enough rocks.
Of course not. Where's Brian when you need him? To tell us about the big ass rocks.
Amazing job on that course rock.
Uh-huh.
Alright, let's see.
But yeah, the good and bad thing about just doing everything by feel is, you know, some days it works really well and you can just plant a course without ever having to consciously think about it. You just do it and you know how to do it.
Yeah.
And the bad part of that is occasionally you'll just forget how to do everything and nothing comes naturally to you anymore. Or if, you know, like you decide, hey, I'm going to do a Twitch show on designing, and then when you realize, like, how do I explain what I do? Well, I can't, because I don't even know how I do what I do. I just do it. Yeah, looks
Let's see.
okay.
Let me find your... Alright, I'm going to try to paste this link in here. That's the picture I was talking about, if it'll ever go through. There we go. Link.
Perfect. I see it in the chat.
To anybody that don't realize why I put that link, it's just showing how to step down the ending to make it look natural, I guess, best way to describe it.
I'm not the best at getting, like, big, giant, rocky areas to look right. I don't tend to do those as much, so I don't, I'm not exactly a master of it, but I think, you know, I can do something decent and figure it out. The key is to blow them up really big and sink them into the ground.
Exactly.
and then throw some littler ones in there.
So even something like a rock, if I plant a rock, that a big rock, and I'll
Hmm.
take some grasses,
Oh yeah,
and the
like
closer to the rock I am, the taller the grass, and then I tape taller and shorter away from
hmm
it to makes it look natural, more realistic, and again that silly word depth.
hmm
I'll even like it. Like if you look at, let me think of one of the holes. You get a chance after I look at 14 on that par three course, the little planter area on the right. I did just grasses, but I used the angle of the sun and a couple bushes or a couple flowers just for shadow purposes to
hmm
shoot shadows across to again give a sense of depth. That's kind of silly stuff I think about sometimes. You'd think I'd do that actually designing the course, but nah, just when I'm planning.
It's okay. I'm sure lots of us think about lots of little silly, finicky things when we're designing.
Curtis's hotel Wi-Fi can't keep up.
That's a shame. It's okay, Curtis. We forgive you.
We'll forgive you this time.
Uh huh. Okay, I
Oh
think I'm.
man, that's looking good.
I know it's really starting to pop. Like obviously the planning's not finished, and I usually like to, you know, I'm kind of the same way with painting, where I'll do a lot of the really broad stuff in a sitting, and then kind of step away and set it
Yep,
aside, and come back to it later with a fresh mind to do the touch-ups. So I probably
that's
won't
exactly what.
finish it today, but I can get the broad, gestural strokes of what I want. Now I got to figure out what kind of fence I want. If I want to go like I'll probably go with the like the wooden uh, post fence. Jason says his
Jason said his OCD struggling with those.
Here, we'll get rid of them. I'm
With your measurement line.
See, I throw in so much measurement stuff all the time that I just get used to just looking through them. So I didn't even notice they were there because mentally I'm just so used to seeing them. Alright, let's see here. I gotta see if I can't figure out a quick way. I think this is all about the same height. So I think I can just use the cheaty, the cheaty method for doing fences and stuff. Like the snap one. Just because I don't want to make, the entire stream sit here and watch me fiddle with, getting fences just right for 35 minutes. You want to get the hits, and that's the dirty secret to a lot of design work, is that it's just fiddly, tedious work. And it takes a long time. Yeah, that's not gonna quite work. Whatever. I'll throw the posts in, just so folks get an idea of what I'm going after, and then I'll how this snap tool works terribly sometimes. My goodness, that snap tool is really terrible. Come on, HB, what are you doing? Sorry about that, Jason.
And I'm back.
All right, were you away
Sorry
for a
about
sec?
that.
Yeah, no
My
worries.
internet, my internet just shut off.
No worries.
This is my second. I've been doing it for a while. I got a brand new air card because that's again
Mm,
all I can get here, and it just shut off on its own.
that's no fun.
Aggravating.
It's okay. I'm going through and deleting my fences because HB snap tool sucks. I thought I'd be able to just quickly do some fences around the green, but because the snap tool sucks, it's just that's not going to happen.
It can be aggravating, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I think I'll just throw some grasses in instead, and that'll be a good kind of what do you want to call it? Kind of probably finishing
buffer, if you will.
Yeah, I might play around with the fence later and kind of show that off, but that's kind of an off-camera thing. Nobody wants to sit there and watch somebody fiddle with a fence for 30 minutes. But yeah, and this is one of the other things I kind of like to do. So how you're talking about like how you stagger bushes and stuff, I tend to do the same thing with grasses, where when you have grasses at the edge of a playing area, you start off small close to the playing surfaces and you get bigger as you go away, and you kind of layer those in.
Exactly. I would even tie them into the from the tee to those bushes.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and here's a great little shortcut tip for folks. Like, you don't need to spend tons and tons of time planting your entire course. Focus on the places where you're going to spend the most amount of time, which is the tee and the green. Like, do all the finicky detail planting around your tee and your landing areas, and the rest of the stuff you can get really kind of sloppy with, or basically if you can't see it, it doesn't need to be that neat. You can hide all sorts of crimes if you know what you're doing. So I think I'm gonna steal a little bit from Skinny Post's course. I'm gonna throw some purple flowers in because I think that's
there you go.
Throw some down. I'll do some stuff. I think I can get a cool kind of naturalistic area. Like there's that little mound in front between the tee box and the green. I can throw some kind of cool waste areas in there. Now, what grass was I using? It was this one, I think. I've never seen or I've never personally seen the infamous Eric taking 2 hours to plant a rock stream. I'm still having no evidence of it. I'm not entirely sure if people are being literal or metaphorical when they're saying that Eric took 2 hours to put a rock down. I'd give it 50-50. Yeah. You could kind of flip a coin of which one of those is correct, if people are literal or metaphorical about that. There we go. This is starting to look pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
This is awesome. And it's funny, I just threw this down in 45 minutes while chatting with you. This might be one of my favorite par 3s I've ever done. Like this is awesome, and let's see.
It does look good.
Yeah. Obviously, I can get. Oh, I know what I need. Where's that white shrubby flower I like? There we go. It needs a little splash of that as well. I think that's one of my kind of, maybe crutches is the wrong word, but but I always love being able to put little splashes of color off to the side.
Yep.
It just gives it kind of a little more life, in my opinion, than if because this, what the game gives you by default is very monotone. Like, you can do a lot of cool stuff with it, but I don't know. I like being able to throw a little variety of color in, kind of in the rest of the course.
Yep. When you get a moment, can you go back to the tee and just sit there and let me catch up?
Absolutely.
We'll see something.
Here.
You were just working on that left side of that tree on the left just now.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe it'll catch up in a second.
No worries. There. I'll let that sit for a bit because it'll be a bit. But does anyone in the chat have anything they wanted to ask Terry or wanted Terry to talk about? Well, I suppose that since you guys don't have to jump off into the goat ranch, that we don't have any kind of set time limit, but an hour show feels kind of about the right length, so I don't want to go too much over that.
My screen still hasn't went back to the tee.
No worries, it's fine.
I saw something a minute ago when you were kind of sitting there that I want you to do.
I fiddled with.
But I need to be able to see it.
I did a flyover, I think, and then I was gonna play test it again, but so I just exited that and then went back to the tee. And I've just been kind of sitting there for a minute or so. Oh yeah, that would be another piece of advice to newer designers. You can't play test your course enough.
That's the truth.
Whether you're working on getting it to kind of visually work, or working on the playability. If I'm being honest, I think I do more I'll run through like the flyover and play test that way more just for visuals than I do for playability. Like I'll probably do. Granted, I play it as I go, so I'm kind of doing both. But as far as just strict playability playthroughs at the end, I probably only do like a dozen tops. But I can run through the flyover and tee shot and approach shot visuals, 20 times.
Okay, it finally caught up. You see if you're still standing behind the tee.
Mm-hmm.
See, just to the left, I don't know, 10, 15 yards from that little dark spot where the little mound is.
Yeah. Like I think the tee box is there.
Oh, is that a tee box?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the tee box for 3.
No, not way down there. I'm talking just right in front of the tee to the left. There's a little
darker
yeah. Okay. Mound.
Mm-hmm.
Just try it. It may not look good. Put a tree there, and a bush at the base of it. Taper them down to the right just a little bit, not covering up that brighter spot down in front of the bunker there. Mm-hmm. If that's making sense, just see if that don't add a lot more depth to this hole.
Let's see.
That's the only thing I would add to frame it any more than it already is.
Though, I'm honestly, I think that might be where I would put other tee boxes though.
Gotcha.
Because I would definitely want my tee, as the boxes get shorter and easier, I want them to work out to the left.
Gotcha.
And that's a great little kind of thing to think about as well. Of obviously you can move your tee boxes up for the easier tee sets and make your holes shorter, but you can also play around with angles and make holes harder or more difficult that way. So say you're playing from the back and there's I over-scrolled there. And there's a back right pin location. Well, that bunker's blocking you there, so you kind of just have to carry it there. If you're playing a tee set off to the left, then all of a sudden that bunker's not in play as much, and you can roll them in or that sort of thing.
That is a great looking par 3 though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll play around with the planting and stuff more, but I'm kind of hitting that point of like, okay, this is enough for a sitting. This is normally I'm like, okay, this is good enough for now, and I would go do something else. But we're also I don't want to just I think I would drive people nuts just bouncing all over the place and doing little things on like 4 different holes. That's not a great episode structure.
Well, it's your show. You can do it however you would like.
It's okay. I'm still figuring out how I like to do it. We're doing this all on the fly. Like this episode was, hey, well, I think eventually, because I still want to be able to get, like, there's a lot of designers I'd love to be able to kind of talk to and get their thoughts on stuff. Like, I think there's a lot of people who have a lot, of stuff to a lot of great things to say about, like, architecture or using the tools or all that sort of stuff that don't necessarily get the platform to talk about it.
Exactly.
So I was kind of hoping to have a guest on every week, but I don't think it would always line up in a way that, like, whatever I would be working on this project would necessarily kind of correlate with what their strengths are,
Yeah.
So I was kind of debating turning this into more like, and it's hard for like, again, like how we were having tonight where, you're several minutes behind what I'm doing and we had to kind of sit and wait for you to catch up, when I was asking you about something. So with those difficulties, I might try and in the future kind of make it more like an interview type thing and just work in the background versus, I don't know. I'm sure that'll depend, from person to person, and we'll get a feel for it later. So yeah, it's like if anybody, any of the viewers had any thoughts on that, I'm more than happy to get suggestions and stuff of what you want to see. But yeah,
I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.
No problem. Is there
Watching
anything,
work.
like any kind of closing thoughts that you had or stuff you wanted to share?
I just say design and plant, do whatever makes you happy.
Exactly.
Worry about everybody else's thoughts and everything last. If you're happy with what you're designing, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But by all means, listen to those Matt Fritches and Andres and Erics of the world. They really know what they're doing.
Yeah,
I'm decent at planning, but I am no designer. I freely admit that these guys are. I learn more just watching them than I ever have doing anything else.
and I don't like that whole learning thing doesn't ever stop. I'm constantly stealing from all of you guys. Like most of my projects start on, oh, I really like how so and so did this. I want to try my own spin on that. Like every project anymore, it seems that I start with like a couple ideas that I stole / borrowed from people, or a real life course I kind of want to emulate, things like that. And if you just roll several of those into a project and let it kind of grow organically and change as it goes, then you end up with a product that isn't a rip-off, but that's where it started.
Exactly.
I'm definitely guilty.
There's so many newer guys coming out that's,
mm-hmm.
Their first and second courses are just amazing. Skinny post.
Mm-hmm.
This Justin Chantrez, I believe is his name.
Yeah, Beef, I think, wasn't his first course?
Beef.
Yeah.
I mean, all these guys. And then the old heads like some of the ones in this chat here. Energizer. I mean, this one he did for the contest. I absolutely loved it. So clean.
Yeah.
The lines are just clean. Everything's just meticulous. I cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoy those that can, like Energizer and those guys. It's just, and just like you said, I'll try to steal little things here and there.
Oh yeah.
Like
never be afraid to try something different and try and and you can definitely learn a lot by trying to kind of emulate something that you see and like, oh, I really like what so and so did here, like, and try to just dissect how they did it. Like you can kind of reverse engineer a lot of stuff as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, just don't be afraid to kind of to copy stuff you see or try new ideas. It's just
exactly. And always remember that not everybody's going to like your courses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay if somebody don't like your course.
Hmm.
Just keep designing, keep learning, keep going.
Yeah. If you don't find it fun, then it's like, well, why are you doing it? So it's like, do something that you enjoy. Like
Exactly.
oh god, I'm blanking. Oh, Joe Golfer G and all of his template holes. It just he likes his template holes. It's like
Yep.
if that's what you love and that's what what you're excited to work on, well then do that. So I'm definitely in that. Again, I think not everybody necessarily appreciates the whole template hole style, but it's something different and unique, and I think it kind of adds to the community to have a variety of stuff. And he
Exactly.
makes some cool stuff. A lot of people really love it.
Yeah,
So
he's
yeah.
great at it.
Oh yeah.
And somebody like Smedley that does it also. That's great stuff. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, most of those template holes aren't my cup of tea, but
Hmm.
I totally get what they're doing, and it's incredible what they
Yeah.
do.
Exactly. It's still fun to play. I still love.
Oh yes,
I probably wouldn't design one because that doesn't speak to me the same way it speaks to them. But that
yeah,
doesn't mean that it's not awesome, and I love playing them. It's a great kind of
exactly.
change of pace to see something, you know.
But you said it best when you said, it should make you happy to design. Just an example of that. Back in, and it's when I built the Kraken,
Mhm.
and all the flack I got for the greens on that. But I built that course during the time. Let's see, it was released. Anyway, my dad was in the hospital. He was in his final days on this earth, and I was building that course at the same time. So I'd spend, most of the day at the hospital with my dad, come home and design a few hours, or get on the stream with Eric and the guys. That took me away from what was going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was my outlet. That was my looking forward to something other than, sitting in the hospital watching my dad die. And
Yeah.
then he passed away June the 30th, and I uploaded or published it. I don't know. I guess maybe 3 or 4 days later. And that was just that course was my creative outlet during a pretty sorrowful time, and it helped me get through it. I'm gonna be honest. That and hanging out with Eric and all the guys on the stream took my mind off what was going on.
Oh yeah.
So that's one reason I really enjoy this game.
Mhm. Yeah. Same
Plus the
thing for
fact that
me.
my dad.
Just all the
Yeah, it's
the friends I've made just randomly playing this game.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's like when we're building this little par 3 course.
That was so
Last
much fun.
the last week or two that I was planting it, I was looking forward to. I'd be sitting at work, couldn't wait till 5 o'clock rolls around so I could come home and you know working on planning.
Oh yeah, there have been many a boring work day where you're just stuck doing like some repetitive, boring task, and it's just like, okay, all I'm gonna do the rest of this afternoon while I'm working on Excel spreadsheets or whatever whatever I'm doing is that my mind is elsewhere figuring out what I'm gonna design next or
Exactly.
paint next, but that sort of thing.
That's right. I really and if this community and all the guys I've met from this community, it's been an absolute blast.
Yeah,
And I
agreed.
don't think half of these people know this little dirty ankle mafia that we're all texting each other constantly.
Oh yeah.
We're running stuff by each other all the time.
You guys are
There's
like
there's a lot of good people.
I think that group text is probably 75% of my phone activity.
Oh, at least.
Oh yeah.
It gets so bad sometimes. Some of them will be texting up to. I have to cut it off at night when I go to bed. If not, my phone will ding up to 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, because of you guys, I started putting my phone on silent when I go to bed.
I did too. That's exa- that's
It's
exactly what I did.
it's great.
And I don't know how many people are still in your stream, but y'all just everybody remember Eric and his family tomorrow. His little
Yeah.
boy's having his kidney transplant, and
Yep.
our thoughts and prayers are with him. And we're with you, buddy, and know everything's going to turn out good. And we're
Yep.
going to miss you tonight, of course, on the goat ranch, but you're in our thoughts, brother.
Sending good thoughts your way, Eric.
Absolutely. I was talking to him yesterday, and little Caleb coming in. He said, "What do you get Tuesday?" I said, "A kidney." He just sounds so excited.
I would be
Not even my
excited
child.
too
I
to
about
have
started crying.
yeah. Functioning kidneys are a nice gift.
He's such a sweet kid too. You can hear the joy every time he talks on there.
Exactly.
Oh, that reminds me. He got on there and Eric said when he said about the kid, and he said, "You know who I'm talking to?" And Caleb, I mean, he's what, 2, 3 years old, maybe. He said,
Hmm.
he said, "Oi." And Eric said, "No, not G Dog. This is Terry." He
that
did. He said, "Oi."
that's the cutest thing ever.
That was awesome.
I think I might just have to refer to G Dog as Oi from now on. Who are you talking
Uh,
to? Oi!
that's funny.
Let's
Well, I don't
see.
know where you're at now on the stream, but it's kind of stuck on an overhead of the plot
Yeah,
of
I
my
think I
screen.
left it at an overhead because it was like, oh yeah, this is a good place to wrap up, and then we started talking more. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna go back to playing because it just, I'm sitting here anyway.
Well, I've enjoyed it, and I appreciate you having me on. You're one of the good guys, and one of the great designers in this community, and
Well, thank you.
everybody could learn a little something watching your show.
Yeah, hopefully.
And that's what that's what it's about. All you guys willing to help the community with streaming and showing your way of doing things and giving other people opportunities to talk about how they do things. That's just win-win to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, once I realized that, like, because everybody kind of establishes their own little workflow, and
Yep.
then once I kind of realized, like, oh yeah, I do all of this stuff that I think is completely different from the way everyone else does it, and not that my way is correct, because there's tons of like good ways to do stuff, but it's a whole like I don't think
Yep.
anyone else does stuff this way, like I mean, I think my bunker style, I pulled pieces from the way a lot of other people do it, and then just kind of just churned it all together into my own thing. But like once I
Yep.
started getting that process streamlined, it got to the point of like it's really easy to make like good-looking bunkers this way, and I don't think anybody else does it quite the same way. It's like I should share that because that yeah,
I've
it's a,
got to where I draw every single one of them with the measuring tool and then paint them like you did here. I do every bunker I do that way now.
oh yeah, it's and granted, it's like uh 'cause I've gotten so used to doing that with my U.S. Open course that I'm doing kind of that
Yeah.
Pinehurst style. I stole
Yeah.
Reeb's technique of like spinning one of the other kind of odd shaped brushes, and you can get great kind of waste areas that way. So
Yeah.
it's the whole hey, I have this great method and now I can't use it, and it's like trying to write with your other hand. It's like this feels so weird. I don't know how to do this, so I'm still figuring it out as I go.
Oh, you got T box extra. It just now kicked up where I see your T boxes in
Gotcha.
the.
And then I threw some bushes and stuff in the front.
Nah, let me see what they look like.
Oh, the tee boxes?
The bushes in front of that T box.
Gotcha. That'll be another couple minutes. I just threw a couple
No,
in
I
there.
got it.
Oh,
I
there
see
you go.
it. It's
Yeah, I just threw
to
a
me,
couple.
just
Hmm.
my opinion only. Those bushes are taken away from the overall look of the hole, the fairway, and everything. To me,
Yeah, I think so. Like, if anything, I would move them back a little bit, probably, so that they're not poking out. Like they're just filling or giving interest to that kind of blank, empty space below the tee. But they don't need
I
to
would
like
leave the
poke
one on the
into the
far
holes.
left.
Hmm.
The one on the far left, I would leave that, and then I would do the little tapering trick down and right from there, and get smaller
Yeah.
as you go to the right. That way, it just blends in and is not covering up the fairway as much right there. Because the height of it is like, best I can tell, directly in line with the that bottom edge of the fairway texture,
Yeah.
and just taper it down to the right.
Yep.
That'd be a cool look.
Oh yeah. But I think
That
I'll
is one
probably.
cool looking hole.
It really is. It's turned out really nice. I'm glad this is a good tutorial hole. Get to walk through kind of the basics of framing and stuff. And I had
That is really cool.
a great guest to help with that.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I guess this is probably just as good a place as any to stop. So I just want to say
There we
thank you
go.
again for coming on. This has been awesome. Hopefully,
I appreciate
hopefully this isn't the last time you'll be on. We,
it. I'll
you
be
know,
happy to anytime.
oh yeah. And thanks everybody for stopping by. Appreciate you.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good night, and see you next week.
Good deal. See you, Matt. Thank you, man.
No problem.